Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a revisit review of Mezco Toyz 1/12 Collective Wolverine Deluxe Steel Box Edition. This is something that came out before I was doing YouTube reviews, and honestly, I haven't really played around with this figure too much. He came out, I think, in 2022. Pre-order was up in 2021, and I've had him for a while. I've had him displayed in my Detolf, and I've actually had this box displayed below my Detolf. I've got them on top of, I think it's Calyx, other different open cubes, and I've had this box displayed. But it's a nice tin box. It's about 12 inches wide by about 9 inches tall and like 4 inches deep. So it's a good sized box. And I love when Mezco does this this type of thing with the steel boxes. They're nice for display pieces if you have the room for it. I've got quite a few Mezco tins from other releases too. But this is kind of a highly anticipated one. We all know that Mezco has made a lot of Wolverine figures through the years. But this one was kind of like that 97 look a little bit, the tiger stripe, but also his first appearance, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a huge Wolverine X-Men person, but I believe it also has kind of his first appearance look with the head sculpts. Comes with a ton of stuff, even comes with a destroyed Sentinel, which was kind of one of the big draws for me with this release. But look at this box art. Really cool look of Wolverine. I don't know who's this is drawing of. I guess I don't follow X-Men too much, but on the side you get yourself the X-Men logo. On the back, a pretty cool claw swipe. And this says ages 15 and up. Usually Mezco stuff is ages 18 and up, so that's interesting. Not a toy for children, intended for adult collectors only. Of course, there's a warning for choking hazard for no children under 3 because of small parts. But yeah, pretty cool. It's got a date of 2021. That's when the pre-order went up, and I don't think these shipped until like the middle of 2022, if I recall correctly. But here's the side of the box. Again, a really cool shot of Wolverine with that claw effect. And then if you open this thing up, I don't have all the pieces in here because I've got it displayed. It has a nice piece of this paper to protect it a little bit. And then you get the 1/12 Collective directions, product care guidelines. And then you get some directions because he does come with some claw effect pieces. It shows you how to put them on. And then it comes with a Sentinel. And this is really kind of like the cool piece to this set. The eye comes out. One thing I didn't know until right now, and I've had this thing displayed for almost 2 years without this, is there's spots in the Sentinel to put the foot peg from the Mezco base in here, or the flight stand, it says. To this day, I've been having this Wolverine balancing on this Sentinel, falling down once in a while, me getting frustrated, just because I missed this direction. So directions are important. And then it shows you how to put the batteries in. And most important, this has got 3 AAA batteries. So the batteries are going to last you, not these little small ones that last for 5 minutes. And this thing is awesome. There's an on button, and then you have to push a part in the Sentinel for it to actually turn on. And we'll show you all that. But inside here, you see he comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, actually 8 head sculpts. And then he has the one where like the hood is down. So 8 head sculpts, a bunch of hands, 2 different types of adamantium claws, and then 2 bone claws, which is cool. It gives you those. And then a couple belts. I'll get into the belt thing in a minute. I can't stand Mezco belts lately. They've been really difficult, at least for me, to stay on this figure. And then a belt buckle change out as well. And then there's a second layer that houses the display base, which is like an X-Men logo. And then, of course, the Sentinel himself. But let me pull over now how I've had this thing displayed for the past couple years and show you guys. All right, here's Wolverine and the Sentinel in all its glory. This is how I've had him pretty much displayed for the past almost 2 years. He's looking up because he's on the bottom of my Detolf, and so when you're standing, you can look down at him. He's looking up at you. So it kind of looks like this in my Detolf. And if I zoom in on the figure here, let me just zoom in. I've been using this head sculpt exclusively. I thought this head sculpt was awesome. Like, he's been in battle. He's not fully healed yet. You can see his adamantium skull. You know, part of his mask is torn off. He has that crazy grin. Got the adamantium claws, the X-Men belt, the red belt. And then here's a little bit of detail on this Sentinel. And this thing, man, it looks exquisite. It's a really cool piece. good size. It might not be to scale. I think it might be a bit small. The Sentinel's been different sizes throughout the years, but I always view the Sentinel being a bit bigger. Like that head should be at least the size of his upper body and his head, I think. But that's just maybe my opinion. But anyway, it looks really good. It looks kind of like a classic Sentinel for the most part. Maybe a little Mezco doing their own little take on it. But overall, it looks really good. And then for the figure, since this thing's almost 2 years old, I'm calling this a revisit video. To kind of see how this thing is held up in this pose. Nothing crazy. There's some creases here. If we straighten that leg out, because this is fabric, there's literally like no mark. It's done nothing, sitting that way for 2 years. Even the underwear piece is that faux leather, and even that is not cracked or anything. And you can see the belt. The belt is movable. I'm not going to mess with it because it pops in right here, and I have such trouble with Mezco belts. They always want to fall off. That doesn't stay on very well. But the shoulder pieces are on like a hinge joint, so it gives you some more mobility for the range when you pose this guy. Speaking of posing, we'll just do a quick little review of this guy. Head and neck both move on a ball joint, and the neck doesn't really move too good, but the head looks down really good and then looks up really good. So good stuff there. Head tilt all the way around. Arms go up just about 90. Not too bad there. And then a bicep swivel, which is tough because the muscles. And then double jointed elbows, which gets you 90 because of the muscles, which is fine. And then ball hinge wrist pegs. And then there's the elbow joint. With exposed skin, sometimes elbow joints don't look too pretty, but that's not horrible. And then as you can see, he's got some painted on hair, but it's actually molded. If you put your finger over this, the hair is actually molded as well. It's not just painted on, which is really cool. And then the chest, there is a ball joint in the upper torso. Gives you some really good range. And a ball joint at the waist. So he bends down pretty good. Bends back pretty good as well. And then a whole bunch of different bends here. And then for the legs, ball joints give you 90. There is a thigh rotation. And then double jointed knees. And because it's material, you don't risk, ripping that or anything. And then double jointed knees gives you about that though, because the boots and the thighs are so thick. And then ball joint ankles, which give you some pretty good rocker. So if you've bought one Mezco Wolverine, I think the articulation for this guy is about the same. I have a lot of Wolverines from Mezco, and I think it's about the same. And as far as his size, I think his size is pretty accurate. We'll do some comparisons in a minute here. Here's a look at those claws. And they're not metal, they are plastic, and they do have good bends. So you don't risk breaking them too easy, but you gotta be careful. I would be very careful with them. But if we zoom in a little bit, you can see where the claws come out. Done really well. Mezco does Wolverine figures really good. There's that head sculpt again. You can see his teeth. Yeah, look at that, man. The head sculpts in this figure are top notch. And actually, there's even more of his skull exposed in the back here. Look at that. Yeah, I absolutely love this this head sculpt. It's probably time for a change out, but this is what I've had. And then for the Sentinel, if I lower my camera a little bit, I'll show you guys here where the batteries go on the bottom of this thing. You just take a screwdriver, open this up, and there's 3 AAA batteries. And then there's the on-off switch. You just turn this thing on. And you might say, oh, what's going on here? It's not lit up. You got to push this button right here. And once you do that, the eye lights up. Let me turn some lights off here. You guys can see. A couple lights. And then the chest is it's like flickering. Like it's still trying to function, but Wolverine's just tore it up. You can see these claw marks going into the chest, like Wolverine just tore it up. Yeah, that's really awesome. And then there's one light in the eye, in the head that works, one eye. And then this eye is actually removable. And check that out. I forgot it did that light right there. Yeah, super cool. So you when the light is in, when the eye is in, you can't really see that thing doing that. Maybe if I were to leave it out like that. But you can have him like this is between his claws, like he's ripped the eye out or he's holding it in his hand. Really cool. Really cool feature. Let me turn this thing on and then just kind of rotate this thing to show you guys how cool this thing looks. Slow it down a little bit. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, as you guys can see, it's really cool. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Show you better detail of this thing. Yeah, look at that. Look at that eye flickering. That is crazy. Now, I've watched some reviews when this thing first came out. I watched one review where the person took the Sentinel out of the packaging fresh and it was like melting. It's almost like it wasn't cured. Either the paint or the protective coating wasn't cured, and they said it was like melting, like it was sticky and gooey. That's the only report I've seen of that online. Mine came fine. I've had no issues. Nothing like that's happened since. And I think that person got a replacement from Mezco. Mezco is good about replacing stuff. It may take a while, but you send them a picture, explain what happened, and they're good about getting you a replacement. But yeah, I think this Sentinel piece looks awesome. And if you're an X-Men fan, like this to me was a must-have. A must-have. Let's go ahead and get some of this other stuff out of the box and look at everything it comes with. All right, so I just got some of the stuff out. This comes in the bottom of the base. This is like effect pieces for a claw slash, and you just kind of plug the claws into it. You can see these holes right here, up top, and then down here. We'll probably do a pose with those. I'm not a huge fan of these effect pieces, but we'll give it a shot just for what it looks like. And there's about 4 other ones here they give you for claws effect slash pieces, different types. So if you're doing toy photography or just having like a kind of a more dynamic display, you can have these things on the end of the claws, and it gives you a pretty cool look. And that's where the figure was housed on the right. And then here's the bone claws. They look really good. We'll do a pose of the bone claws. Another set of adamantium claws. I'm not sure what the difference is, honestly. I think they just gave a second pair in case you broke one of the claws. And then a couple extra hands. Looks like one's a pointing hand. A belt buckle in case you don't want to have the X. These belt buckles exchange. So if he's not part of the X-Men yet, like maybe his first appearance, I can't remember, you could just put that normal belt buckle on. And then here's all the head sculpts. These two, I think, are like the first appearance look. If I'm not mistaken, Wolverine showed up in a Hulk comic, I believe, first. Like I said, I'm not a huge X-Men Wolverine guy, so I don't know the whole backstory. And there's another belt. That might be an X-Force belt, maybe? I don't remember. I don't know, there's another X-Men belt. And then there's a couple Logan heads right there. And then more of the standard edition heads. This crazy screaming one's awesome. And then there's the one, the cowl, when it's down. Like he's lowered his cowl and it's just his face. So yeah, this thing comes with a whole bunch of stuff. And then, of course, this display piece, the centerpiece, the Sentinel. And then here's the stand, just a typical X-Men stand. I think a couple figures come with the same looking stand. A couple Wolverine have the same looking stand. I believe Cyclops does too, maybe. And then there's the flight rod. Yeah, let's go ahead and get some poses struck now. Okay, here's one example of how these cross-slash claw effect pieces look. You could probably get it way more dynamic in this, but I just wanted to show you guys, for the sake of this review, kind of how they plug in. And so you could get pretty creative with, you know, some dynamic poses and some angles for shots to make this thing look really cool. But just showing you guys an idea of that. And then here's all the head sculpts. I kind of got them all out of package. There's so many. And I love when Mezco gives this many head sculpts. So a couple different looks for Wolverine. I think I prefer the second unmasked one better than the other one. The hair's a bit more wild. And then here's these looks. I forget what this part of the mask is called, those black things, but I love when they make them really wide like that. And that one where he's screaming, that might be my second favorite head sculpt next to the exposed adamantium one. And then these ones here, I think these are first appearance, if I'm not mistaken. These are first appearance head sculpts. Definitely not my favorite look, but you know, I think that was like, what, the 60s or something, so whenever it was. And then here's more just closed mouth, and then here's the one with the collar with the mask down. So if you have his like his face sculpt on, his head sculpt, the Logan head sculpt, you can put that down. And then these other adamantium claws here, they're not the same. They're actually open hand grasping. So I'll turn my lights back on. I had them off for that Sentinel. But you can see that those are grasping. And then here's the bone claws, and these are fists. And I've always preferred the adamantium, but man, those bone claws do look really cool. Check that out. Got some nice paint work done. It actually looks like bone. Yeah, looks like bone. So great job. Let's go ahead and change out some of these head sculpts now. All right, here's the first unmasked head sculpt. And I've got his cowl down. You just pop the head off, and then this goes over the neck. And as you can see there, that's what it looks like. It's more the modern cowl look, though. But yeah, his head looks really good. If I zoom in really close, it's looks really. I mean, I'm zoomed in like a whole bunch here, so you can see some defects. But man, overall, that head looks really good. The paintwork is really good. I think it turned out fantastic. Got the mutton chops going on. Yeah, it looks really good. All right, here's the other unmasked Logan head sculpt, which I like even more. He looks much more animalistic here to me. Maybe it's because the hair almost looks like a werewolf. It's pretty awesome. But I zoom in ultra close on this one. Yeah, he has like a scowl going on. I like the haircut. It looks really good. This is like, man, this is super cool. And then I also have the cowl down back here as well. Yeah, really cool. I like it. Okay, here's the next Wolverine head sculpt. I love how wide these mask pieces are. You know, I grew up kind of in the 80s, and so Secret Wars was kind of my first really memory of Wolverine, the Secret Wars Mattel figures. And I remember going to Montgomery Ward with my dad one night, and he let me get two, and I got Wolverine, and I got King. And for some reason, I thought those two were enemies, so I bought both of those, got both of those. And so I'm used to the gray and yellow, or the brown and yellow suit is what I grew up with. So this tiger stripe doesn't hit me as much. When 97 X-Men came out, I was a bit older, so I never really got into that. I know it's good, and I've watched some of it, but this doesn't hit home with me as much as the brown and yellow. But regardless, this yellow looks really good in this suit. And that head sculpt, look at that, man. That is fantastic. Very nice. All right, here's the Screaming Berserker Rage head sculpt. This is probably my second favorite next to that exposed adamantium. If I zoom in really close on this one, look at that. Mezco does a great job with open mouth screaming figures. The tongue, the teeth. And I love that he has the white eyes. I love like when Batman has the white eyes and they carry that over. Very comic accurate for the most part, I think. Yeah, this is an awesome head sculpt. Love it. Okay, and as I said, I think this is like first reveal, first Wolverine iteration, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And boy, what is that? Does that change the look of Wolverine or what? I got the bone claws going on. Check that out, though. That is pretty cool. Turn these this way. If I zoom in on this one, those eyes look really good. Teeth. Yeah, the ears aren't as prominent, and I prefer the wider look. But still, man, really cool. Looks really good. Okay, and here's the other early release Wolverine with just a straight face. Cool they included it. I'll never probably use this one, but it looks good. If I zoom in again, paint apps look really good. Eyes look great. Mouth, skin. Excellent job. Love it. Okay, and here's the last one. Just looking kind of a stern look, I guess. Typical Wolverine look if he's not in a berserker rage, right? This is kind of how he is. A little grumpy. If I zoom in really close on this one, man, look at the lips. This is really good. This is a great release. I didn't give it as much time as I should have when it first came out. But overall, I said this is a revisit video. Everything has held up great for these 2 years. Next time I probably revisit this will be maybe a 5-year mark, right? A 5-year mark with Mezco figures is probably a good revisit time, especially ones that have the faux leather going on. I know some people have had problems with their stuff deteriorating. So far, I haven't with any of my Mezco figures. But I don't play with them every day. I'll do toy photography and then I'll pose them or I'll put them away in the packaging if I don't have room to display them. Seam work looks pretty good, Mezco always does a good job with stitching their figures. The tiger straps are off a little bit back here, as you can see. I don't know if that matters too much. It doesn't really bother me because I'm not really looking at the back of him. The front, though, is where it matters. And it looks good in the front. So yeah, that's what matters. Let's go ahead and do a couple size comparisons now. All right, here's the Wolverine next to a couple other versions of Wolverine from Mezco on the left. It was just called Wolverine. And fun fact, that was the first Mezco figure I ever bought. The brown and yellow, which is my favorite look for Wolverine. And I love that figure. I'll maybe do a review, a revisit of that one of these days. And then to the right is the Logan figure, which it grew on me. I got it like half off at my comic shop years ago when I bought it. It was like a closeout, summer closeout or something like that. And I got him for 40 bucks. And I'm so happy. And I've used that thing in toy photography. I love the cowboy hat, the dog tags. And man, these are all about the same size. They're about 6 inches tall. If you include the face mask part that flares out, about 6 1/4. But yeah, these look great side by side. Awesome. Here he is next to Old Man Logan, sans overcoat and Baby Hulk. This figure doesn't look as good without the trench coat, but it's still pretty cool. Again, same height, 6 inches. So actually, I think Wolverine might be a little bit tall. This is supposed to be a 1/12 scale. 6 inches equals 6 feet. And we know Wolverine's like, what, 5'4" or 5'7". He's short. But anyway, this is just a comparison with Old Man Logan. Okay, and finally, here's Wolverine next to Magneto and Cyclops, also both from Mezco. And those are both about 6.5 inches. So I guess Wolverine falls in line with the Mezco size. And of course, the Scott Summers on the right, the Cyclops, that's the 97 version. So kind of matches up with this Wolverine pretty good. I also have the other Cyclops, the blue and yellow one, which I prefer, kind of the 80s look. But yeah, man, these look really cool together. It'd be nice to get these all in a detolf displayed together, like in a giant fight. Would be awesome. Okay, so just real cool, I thought I'd show a couple display options here you could do if you have this in a detolf. You could get a couple X-Men around the Sentinel. I've got Cyclops here shooting off a blast, an optic blast. And I have the flight stand pegged into the Sentinel, which I said until today, I missed that direction when I first bought this thing. And you can see all these different holes. You can plug the flight stand in different holes here. And I believe a few of these, you can even plug the foot peg base, the foot peg from the base in these smaller holes for Wolverine. But man, look how cool that is. So you could dedicate a whole space in your shelf to just like the X-Men around the Sentinel. Hopefully Mezco makes more. I mean, I know they have Gambit. I didn't get Gambit. Missed out on that one. But we got Cyclops, we got Wolverine. Who else do we got? Is that it? Cyclops, Wolverine? Am I missing somebody? I mean, Magneto, but you can make him good if you want. But yeah, regardless, this looks really cool. Cool pose. So at the end of the day, is this thing worth it? Surprisingly, it's still available on BBTS, Big Bad Toy Store. and it retails for $155, so it's not cheap. But you do get this awesome Sentinel piece that lights up. You get a Wolverine figure that's got like 7 head sculpts, bunch of different options for displaying him. So even though I'm not the biggest X-Men fan, I do like the X-Men. I'm just not a huge nerd over them. I do think it's worth it, at least for me. And as far as a revisit video, this being 2 years old, everything's held up great. The Sentinel still works. He lights up. Nothing's melting on him. As I mentioned, someone else had that issue. The body is fine. Nothing's deteriorated. So if you don't have this guy and you're a big Wolverine fan, and you love like 97 X-Men, the cartoon, this would probably be a good one to get. So let me know what you guys think. It's been out for a while, like I said. Maybe you have this guy. How is yours held up? Do you still like him? Is he your favorite Mezco Wolverine? Like, comment, subscribe if you would. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, this has been Mezco Toyz 1/12 Collective Wolverine Deluxe Steel Box Edition.